The episode that you were watching was recorded months ago, which means it might include some dated information, such as, I don't know if you see Sandra walking around in Montgomery Ward. Now you know why. All right, welcome back to the Motherlode Show. I'm Steve, right? I'm Steve.
You're Steve.
I'm Steve, and you are
Sandra,
and we are. I mean, we're doing this.
We're rolling. We're
rolling with it. We've got a few shows already in the bag, and we're having so much fun getting to know just relationships moms have in people's lives, and. Yes. I mean, I am having so much fun doing this and learn. I didn't know how much I would learn, and like I'm just taking notes, and we've coined the phrase now nuggets, because we're the Motherlode. We're mining for nuggets, and we're just getting them left these nuggets and right.
We're gonna have to start writing these down.
Write them down
because these women are brilliant.
Yeah.
And brilliant, and they are feeding us their knowledge and their journey and the information, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to forget that.
Nope.
So we might have to have a running log of all these nuggets.
We might have to record some of these conversations we're having with. No, I'm just kidding. That's what this is. That's what this is.
Yeah.
And then we go back and watch them.
Yeah. So how are you this lovely afternoon?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm hoping the weather starts to get warmer soon and get out and about and not just be freezing all the time. But other than that, What about yourself?
I'm good. I can't complain. I'm so excited that we are doing this. We're finally off, and we're getting off on a good note. And I'm so happy that you're willing to take this journey with me, friend.
Are you serious? Who else would I take this with?
I know.
You're bringing, like, the people you're bringing are just unbelievable.
Well,
and the person we have today, I'm super excited about her.
You're going to learn a lot. I mean, because she is fabulous. This exceptional human, as we like to say here on the show. She's amazing. I've come to know her from, our past, we were colleagues at a company that we worked for, and she is just phenomenal.
Okay.
She's currently, she is an entrepreneur. She is the owner, founder of A2Z Consulting Services.
Okay.
And she'll explain some of that to us. She previously also was the chief people officer.
That's a role.
We got to ask what that entails.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm like lower level people
CPO
person, but
right? Chief people officer of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yes.
All right.
She was the great one at that, senior VP of HR and social responsibility at Camping World.
All right.
Right, and she is one of her best and claim to fame accolades is the mother of two brilliant daughters, Danielle and Nikki. Okay, and this is my friend, gem of all gems, Zrinka Allen. Welcome.
All right. Hey, Zrinka, how are you?
Oh my God, I'm terrific, but I don't know that I can follow those kind words, Sandra. So, okay, we'll go with that.
Fact checking those were all accurate.
Was I accurate with them? Was I accurate?
Well, you were accurate. I'm going to go with sure. Yes. but that only goes.
What are you talking about? Like,
it's only because, again, the reciprocity of being a friend with you, Sandra, a colleague with you, and certainly sisters in many, many lives, I think, beforehand. So thank you for those kind words. But I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. I mean, there's a lot there just in, your history of. Most of those were, obviously there's your relationship with your daughters, but then your business accolades there. But, tell us about that. Your A2Z Consulting. So what is that like?
Thank you for asking. I actually think this is a trick. Sandra told me we're going to talk about our love of shoes and size 11s, which we both have, and it's really hard to find. So, all right, we'll switch the script now, Sandra.
Bait and switch from size 11 shoes to your entrepreneur abilities.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that opportunity. A2Z really at its core is a consulting service really focused in all areas of human capital. But, before I talk to what that is, what it really means in layperson's terms, right before it was started, I had worked with Sandra and many other individuals in that space that we all know, human resources. We hire, there's employment branding, there's culture, there's service, and so forth. And I'd always been thinking, I got to do something different. I couldn't figure out when, what, how, and I kept getting lost in not having a full business plan and the name and the service offering and all these things. And I found these things to be somewhat paralyzing in moving forward. And January 26, 2020, sad date for many of us, Kobe Bryant was killed. Yeah. And I cannot tell you what about his death and his family's impact and all the mourning and other tragedies that we've seen in life, that one really got me, Steve and Sandra. And I thought, if not now, when? So he passed away on a Sunday, and I went in Monday and I gave notice. I was hoping that I could give a really long notice period because I didn't really have everything mapped out. I just knew it was time for change. And so, I worked out my notice period, but in that process, I took hopefully what were 30 years of experience, both in life, both in work, and be able to help others in that space, corporations, employees, develop a culture where we're all seeking safety, trust, and belonging. Way before diversity, equity, inclusion was a true intention, I've sort of been working with people and leaders and organizations that value that. So I really felt like we had something unique to offer. And then I thought, well, what do I call this business? I mean, I don't really know, And so, Sandra was very, very kind to me in what she said. And, one of the things that I remember being called when we worked together was sort of the Swiss Army knife of the business. And really, while I had a role and a function within human resources, I think the reason that I was successful and that we were able to make the impact with Sandra and many other leaders was because we built trust and we knew where to go for solutions. So I took a little bit of that. What did people say about you? So Swiss Army knife, a play on my initials, the term A to Z, beginning to end, and all those sorts of things. So that's really how A to Z was born. That's the history, the name, and really the offering today is to help organizations equip, mobilize, ignite, disrupt, decide, all the things that keep them from being the best that they can be. From an employee standpoint, from a candidate standpoint, really talk about experiences and their customer experiences.
That's awesome. I geek out. So I own a screen printing and branding company. And so I geek out on the name and the all that kind of part of it. So
good.
It's got to be able to tell, you got to be able to tell a story with it, right? And you're able to tell, because so many people are going to ask you, where did that name come from? And you have to have a story to tell, and you've got an amazing story to tell.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, Steve, but A2Z was taken. So the 2 was kind of like, I didn't really have a choice. And then the blue and green, one of the things we try to do is bring calm during chaos. And we sort of are like the, let's call it the fixer of organization. So calmness of blue and green for revenue, because it's always good business to do these right things, although it gets caught up in a lot of other noise. So well, I'll be calling you for some stuff. That's for sure.
Come on, bring it.
Yeah. So you're like the Olivia Pope for businesses.
Oh, well,
you're gonna come in the middle of the night.
She's a little less. It sounds like she's a little less fixery type, but yeah.
Wow, but no, that's awesome, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you, friend. I mean, you have a calmness about you that amongst some chaos, you seem to bring it all together, get everybody to kind of have a woo-saw moment, roll up your sleeves, and let's handle what's in front of us. And thankfully, I was alongside you in those chaotic moments most of the time, but I know personally you have helped me and my family, and you're just a beautiful person. And so I'm just so excited to move in this space with you and to share you with the world, right? So,
you had talked about how much your experiences that brought you to what you're doing now is, I think, the term that you use. Like, tell us about that. Back, as early as you want to bring that. Like, where did those experiences start, and where it's led you to what you're doing today?
Yeah, no, thank you. I guess I'll start when I came to America. Maybe that's the best place, right? Yeah. So I was born in Croatia, and in April of '70, my mom, as I think about this motherlode, this theme, this story that you're telling of these relationships, my mom decided that she wanted to seek something better for her and her daughter. And at that time, in our culture, and really maybe even generationally, divorce and then moving across this huge ocean was really not heard of or known. It certainly wasn't in my family. So she came here with me in April of 1970. Quick funny story about that, right? I spoke no English. She had come prior to get a work visa and get things taken care of. And my little village has loaded us up with food, because God forbid there shouldn't be food in America when you land, right? So picture O'Hare, right? Busy airport. These two women get off the plane, and now she has to really get rid of this food because it's not going to go through customs. So she is, the Catholic that was like, I cannot throw this food away. So she's giving food away in customs to people. But there were two really big sausages that she was not willing to let go of. So she puts on my winter coat, shoves the sausages in my sleeve, and gets me through customs. And that was my entree into America, with a little bit of Croatia in my sleeve. So
a little bit of black market sausage on your way in. Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry to the customs agent who probably smelled the garlic sausages I was walking through, but it was what it was. But there's so many stories like that. So yeah, we came to Chicago, settled in a fairly ethnic area, which I was thrilled about because I came from a very diverse family, which had, at that time we had Muslims, we had Catholics, we had Christians, and we had every other religion you could think of, because that's what Yugoslavia formerly was. So when we came to America, it was just more of what we had learned to know. I spoke no English. She was working in a factory. And the only way that I was learning English was through shows like Hogan's Heroes and I Dream of Jeannie. And anybody who's young will not know any of those shows, but they can ask their parents.
Adam, have you heard of those shows? Oh, nope.
See,
okay.
Adam is way young. Hogan's Heroes is on another channel. It's on now. It's actually very good. Z, I have to interrupt you. So keep that thought. I'm not good at that. Keep that. We have someone knocking at the door, so to speak. You people. And I would love to share them with you.
Sure.
Hi, Mom.
Please don't cry.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Steve.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, welcome.
Do we look like sisters? My goodness.
You look like
do.
sisters.
Oh my
and you look like daughter. Like, I mean, this is a family right here.
Z, it's not supposed to be this way.
Oh no, but it's great that it is.
It's great.
That's
This
amazing.
is natural America. This is awesome. So, Z. Okay.
Hey, ladies, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, ladies.
She's usually prepped with tissues at this point.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to look messy on the TV.
Oh, get messy.
Get
It's
messy.
okay.
It's
Yeah, we're
okay.
fine.
You're beautiful, and we are so excited. Your babies are your, they're your champions. They love you, and I just had a thought. This is something that we are trying to do on our show, and I just text Nikki. Listen, this is what I'm trying to do. And thank you both ladies for joining us this morning. So Z, if they could just take it down a notch.
I was texting in the morning. I was so excited, and to please send good juju at 12:30. And you're asking me a million questions like, was it live? What's going to happen? What's it about? Zero idea. Mission accomplished. Carry on. Oh my God.
Okay. So you have two beautiful daughters, Nikki and Danielle. And I'm telling you, I have to look really, because now I'm like, who is who? Because you both look like twins right now. Your hair is long. So haven't seen you all in a while. So this is my wonderful friend, Steve.
Hello.
Hi,
And
Steve.
we are just going to jump right. So Zrinka, would you want to introduce your daughters to us?
Oh my
please?
God.
You don't have to get fuzzy because we know all about them, but I just want you to introduce them.
These are as we say in our family, the apples to the tree, right? This is how we have been together, thick as thieves. These, so let's say blue shirt, Nicole Allen to my left, Nikki, as she's known, and to her right, my oldest and most recently married daughter, Danielle.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Yes.
That new bride glow.
My husband's actually listening in too.
Hi, David.
Well, yeah. So here we like to celebrate moms, and I thank you too for joining on to help us celebrate your mom. And I met the two of you when we worked in the same space. Your mom, as you all know, she coined this phrase. I guess someone did like the Swiss Army knife, right? And so, real quick, I want you to, Danielle, you're unique in yourself in your own right, because one, you're the oldest. Two, when we met I only think I worked with you for a little bit, and then you got swooped off and went somewhere. And I it's a proud moment because this also is a testament to your mom, you and your mom and your sister, the will and what it takes. But you went off. Can you tell us about where you went?
Absolutely. And it was such a pleasure to work with you, even the short amount of time. And I definitely had FOMO that my mom and Nikki got to work with you much longer than I did. But I had a whirlwind opportunity. I actually had just started working with you guys and had to go to my boss at the time and say, can I have the next 6 weeks to 10 months off? I just got on a reality television show called NBC's The Biggest Loser. So in 2012, I had the opportunity to be on the show and work with amazing trainers like Jillian Michaels and Bob Harper and Delvette Quince and amazing people as well. But the only reason I was able to feel that power and strength to take that step was because of these two women here. They've always had my back. They've always supported me in any which way I could imagine, the apples in the tree, as we say. And then fast forward 6 months later, I actually won the show. So March 18th, March 18th is 10 years. March 18th.
Really?
Yes, we're 3 weeks away from my 10-year finaliversary. I lost over 100 pounds on the show, and keep trying to do things in my world that shift in balance for health, wellness, and just feel better when you wake up in the morning. And again, it's so much easier when you have such strong women that surround you and give you that empowerment to, take the leap and walk around on national television in a sports bra and little spank shorts and just roll with it.
I'll have to try that sometime. Yeah.
Let us know when we can tune in, Steve.
All right, got it.
So I got to tell you, so I was fortunate enough to be at our company to attend your big reveal, locally. Yeah. That was amazing. It's fun. You looked amazing. But tell us what it was like, because from what I'm understanding from what your mom told us or told me is that you weren't able to communicate with your mom or your sister during that time.
Yeah. And that was the hardest part. I mean, I was fortunate. I went to school 800 miles away. I worked in and out of England and then came back to Chicago all the time. But I was always able to talk with my family. This was the first time we had no TV, no cell phone, no internet. You're completely cut off from the outside world. I think the PA that was assigned to me is now officially a family member, talking to my mom. All they got to know is she's still here. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm either getting kicked off or, 6 feet under because Jillian's going to kill me one of these days after one of our sessions. So yeah, it was insane. 8 to 10 hours of working out a day. The goal was to burn between 5,000 and 6,000 calories a day. So to find that strength and motivation, it truly was keeping, my family in mind, that they gave up a lot to give me that opportunity. The company we worked for at the time too supported me so much. I know, Sandra, you were cheering us on from the background as well, and to come back and to come home and literally be right near our office and have everyone come be a part of that reveal. That was more special than any weight that I had lost, because it just showed when you have the right people around you, you can really accomplish anything.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Cool.
Do you have any quick questions? Because I can keep rolling with this. I don't want to take that. I don't want to be the one.
No, I mean, I'm like a production nerd question. Like, I could get really deep into I was actually on you might not know this. I was on a reality show myself.
Really?
So Spike TV had this show. They had one season of it. It was called Murder. And they had 2 sets of 3 teams they'd recreate a crime scene on a sound stage, and it looked real. And then you had to figure out who did it. And so episode 1 came on at 8:00 prime time, and then episode 2 came out 9:00. I think mine was on at 3 a.m. by the time mine aired. But yeah, episode 9 called Gutted, Spike TV.
Well, did your team win?
Well, so we didn't win. We did pick the right person, but the other team supported it better. But my claim to fame was, they had to turn off all of the air conditioning because it affects, microphones and that kind of stuff. And it was July in LA. And so we had 15 minutes in the crime scene. I think 9 minutes I spent trying to put the rubber gloves over my sweaty hands was the first 9 minutes of it. So yeah, not really cut out for that stuff. But
you're a star.
Did
you have a SAG card?
SAG card? No.
You didn't get a SAG card?
No, they paid me a couple grand and put me on like a hotel where I thought I'd get murdered. I thought that maybe like
Okay, moving along.
Theme there.
Yeah, exactly. It was very meta. Yeah,
that's crazy. So,
Oh my gosh.
And Nikki and I are true crime junkies, so we'll definitely have to find that episode.
Okay, murder.
Don't look at our podcast because you might question who we are.
So, Nikki, Mama Nick, as I know that you are called. Everyone, that's an endearment term that I see in all your social media and so forth and so on. You left the company to follow a passion of yours. You want to explain that to us? And I don't want everyone to think that like the company was the company.
Oh my God.
That's how I met you. You know what I mean? This is where we all met. I met your beautiful family there, and you all have kind of gone off on your own path. So tell us. I don't want to just jump right in and tell us what your journey was like after you left the company.
Yeah, so I have always been a massive sports gal, enjoy watching pretty much everything, big Chicago fan, and had an opportunity to get into sports as a career. It's something I always wanted to do. Sports and entertainment kept me excited and felt like there was true passion behind everything that I was doing. And so I had a chance I grew up playing soccer and have been able to now make a career of it. Not on the field, unfortunately. No Mia Hamm, Bryce Scurry kind of skills of this family. We like to think the trajectory was there, but I just fell away from it. But yeah, so I've been able to work in various agencies over the last probably 6 or so years, specifically dedicated to the sport of soccer and growing that sport here in the U.S. Massive trajectory that, we're on. The World Cup is going to be here in 2026 in North America. And so I've been working in an account management, client service type role for the last 6 years, working with really great properties, things like the U.S. Soccer Federation. So the men's and women's national teams, when the women won the World Cup in 2019, they have another World Cup this summer, so everybody watch. Working with the Premier League, the most senior, exciting league in the world, and a whole bunch of clubs everywhere, top to bottom of the soccer pyramid here in the U.S. And so, getting to make my passions what I do for my day is awesome. And, I've got some pretty good cheerleaders. Well, I guess here. That's right. To help kind of keep me inspired and keep doing that along the way. But it's been an absolute blast, and I'm so excited for what the future brings.
Yeah. My son, Stevie, is really within the last year has been getting into soccer, and it's like he'll come home and be like, the pitch, and I'm like, what is like real right. You start speaking that new language, all of a sudden he gets really into it. What is shows like Ted Lasso and like Welcome to Wrexham? It seems like even here in the United States, like shows like that have maybe had an impact in increasing the game in general. Have you noticed any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are paying attention and understand that Wrexham is in the fourth tier of the English football pyramid, or soccer pyramid. It's so insane to even have people understand what that means, and the concept of promotion and relegation, which are just things we don't have in American sports.
Which they should, by the way. That would be amazing.
It's electric. It's the last day of the season. Sandra, we will find a great morning to watch some PL matches together.
I am open to that because I don't understand it. I watch, and first of all, the field is so massive.
The pitch
and
is so massive.
I'm looking like, why is there a yellow or why is there a foul or whatever over here? And I'm watching where the ball is over there. I can't keep up.
To tell you how bad I am, I played soccer in 8th grade for one season, and I did it to get in shape for basketball, to get in shape for baseball. And they only had 11 players, and they're like, we need a backup, we need someone to be able to sub in. So I show up we had a game that day. I'd never practiced or anything, and one guy was out. So I was now playing soccer in 8th grade, and I knocked this guy over, and he holds up. I didn't know, he holds up this card, and I tried to take it. I literally tried to take. I thought he was giving me the card, and I'm like, okay. So
Well, that's bad.
Bonus prize.
That's bad.
That was bad, but I did score a goal in that
Okay,
game.
well, there you go. There you go.
Nice.
It was, and then the reaction was not, it was, so here's the idea. He's like, all right, you're going to be defenseman. I'm like, great. What does that mean? And he's like, that means you kind of stand in the back. And if people try to like, just kick it out of bounds, like don't try to do anything. Just you kick it out of bounds. I'm like, all right, I can do that. So all of a sudden I'm doing it, whatever. And then they stop and the ball was like way up there. And they're like, hey, Steve. And I'm like, what? He goes, it's a corner kick. And I'm like, what's a corner kick? He goes, move up. And I'm like, okay. So I move up, and he meant like to midfield, but I moved like right up to the box, and this guy kicks it from the corner, right? Put that together. And he kicks it, and it kind of just lands like right on my foot. So I like kind of closed my eyes and just kicked as hard as I could, and I put it in the upper left corner of the goal. And my team they laughed. They were like, thought it was like the craziest, most insane thing ever. And I never even came close to scoring any other goals in my life after that. But yeah,
hey,
I was
you got one. The
I was
box
one
is
for
checked.
one for one time in my life.
Did you ever play again?
I finished out that season and I was
okay.
I was done.
Awesome.
I did play goalie in an indoor league one game because someone got hurt or something like.
You got to wear those big gloves.
No, they didn't tell me about those gloves. I wish they did.
I don't know much. I know some fashion things about that. So, okay, so we have your mom quietly waiting in the corner, being so patient, just blushing over her daughters. Zrinka, who I also call Z, by the way, because everyone knows her as Z, and I would never
call
do that
her Z too.
Yeah, well, I would never do that in the workplace, though. I don't think I ever did. But at any rate, we're here now, and so we like to play a little game with you. We like to play games. Z, we're putting you on the spot, okay?
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we had a little side chat with your daughters.
Oh, dear God. All right. Bring it.
And we want to know some fun facts about you. So are you ready? We have a couple of questions. Okay, this is a question that they pose, and you're supposed to give the answer. Okay, so I'm asking you the question. You tell us what your answer is, and we'll see how you do. Okay, what is the girl's favorite thing to do with you?
Drink Prosecco.
That good answer. Yes. Oh, what is
half right?
Thing? That's half right. That's half right. So kudos. What is your daughters? I don't know if that's just because of the drinking factor, but okay. Okay, so what do they like to do to you?
Oh, scare me to death?
Yes.
Oh my God, you guys. It is insane.
Sandra, I've got a good video to show you later.
Me too. Yes.
Send it to us. We'll have Adam play it.
Oh, this is their purpose and whole mission in life is to figure out ways to scare me. And they managed to do it in my own home, in my own bedroom, in the smallest bathroom in a hotel. I am deathly afraid to be around these girls at any point because I know something will come jumping out. And I act like it's the first time ever. I have years of experience. You'd think I would have learned by now.
Yeah, well,
the best part about it is that we have gotten it to a point where like she just won't see us and thinks that we're hiding, ready to scare her. She's like, I'm not coming out. I'm not coming out. And I'm just like around the corner just standing and she just can't see me.
You two are in a different state and she's still doing it.
Steve, I haven't taken a shower because I'm afraid to go to the bathroom. That's what's going to happen.
Wow.
But
wow.
I think one of the best times is when we were all working together, because I mean, you can give it back a little bit too. Mom, you jump in and scare us as well. I was in a different department at the time, and Nikki had her desk upstairs, and Mom, you had your office. And so both of you had gotten up at one point. Mom, you ran and hid under Nikki's desk to try to scare her. But when she came up, she saw you missing and was under your desk trying to scare you. And I walk in and the two of you are laughing under each other's desks, waiting to scare the heck out of the other one. And I'm just sitting here eating popcorn. I'm like, what was that?
Like that Michael Jackson like GIF or meme or whatever.
Wait. We were also very productive during that time.
Yes, definitely.
Scares. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a Nikki question.
Okay.
If Nick could only eat one thing the rest of her life, what would it be?
Macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
and
job, Bob.
Here's a Danielle question.
Uh-oh, okay.
We heard Danielle dyed her hair blue in high school. I don't even know what that is about, but at any rate, but then had a mishap. What color did her hair turn after swim practice?
Oh God, Danielle, you were always so experimental with your hair. I mean, you had colors, dreads, braids, everything you could think of. Like, it was insane. I'm trying to think. There are two colors that come to mind. You ended up with red hair, and I ended up calling you Olga. Would that have been it?
Yeah, the purpley reddish, I don't know, box dye job. Yeah.
And the Olga comes from my grandmother, who used to dye her hair red, and it was very much like this Eastern European look. And so she became Olga for that reason. Hey, I'm kind of 2.5 for 3, right? I'm doing all right.
Yeah, but you didn't get
Well,
that
that
one.
wasn't right.
That wasn't right.
Oh, I thought that was right. All right, carry on.
Green. The color is green.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
But there was a story behind that, because of course the professional mother that I had being raised is no, you should not have blue hair. It is not professional. People are going to the optics, right? You always have to be mindful of optics. So I put an entire PowerPoint presentation why 16 years old was the perfect time to have blue hair, because I wasn't going to job interviews. I wasn't ready for college yet. And if I wanted to get it out of my system, now is the time. And I gave this whole presentation, and then she was the one to actually dye my hair blue for me.
I did.
Wow.
It was so persuasive and so well done. And yeah, both of the girls, even on silly things, I don't want to digress too much, Sandra, but we're like, if they wanted to have, if the school was closed on Pulaski Day, I would say, tell me why Pulaski, you have the day off. Give me some persuasive reasons why you shouldn't be going out in the community and doing something with this day off. Whether they wanted cell phones or reasons to dye their hair blue, there was some project or homework assignment, and numerous eye rolls from these two, and slam doors in the house as well. So.
oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. How many years apart are you guys, by the way?
4.
Oh,
Thanks for calling us twins, though. I always love it.
Nikki's like, yeah.
I'm the cool younger sister. It's okay.
No, she got everything from me. Like, I was the one that started playing soccer first. So therefore, all her accolades are due to me.
There you go.
She gets credit for all of them.
I got to tell you, as the baby in my family, the baby is always the one that learns from the older siblings and kind of thrives and learns what not to do, and kind of sees, that didn't work with mom, so I'm going to do this.
For everything.
Yeah, that's how it is. I'm sorry to say.
Because she was honest. She's like, I'm just going to go do this because I learned that Danielle got in trouble, so I'm just going to be honest so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, there you go. What didn't work, the babies always know, that didn't work, so I'm going to do it this way. So we kind of thank you for being the teacher, the role model, and so I could appreciate that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back and focus on your mom and her life's journey, and you're more than welcome to stay and listen if you'd like, but we're going to kind of go back and chat it up with her. So I mean, it's up to you guys. But I want to thank you for being on.
I have a couple business meetings to attend to.
Yeah. Zrinka, it's up to you. It's up to you. I know the way you raise your daughters and the way they are, your life's an open book. They've learned from you. So, I mean, this is something new and fresh for us, and we're super excited to have the 3 of you on. But we now want to go back and focus on you, the mom, get some of those nuggets in.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. So this game has been fun.
Yes.
Learning more about both you two and of course your mom. And so, but thank you for jumping on, and that moment at the beginning was so sweet.
That's going to go.
Oh my God.
That's going to go down in Motherlode history. So thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate it.
Mwah. Love you, girl.
Thanks for having us. Love you guys.
Thank you. Take care. Great seeing you.
Talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a great day. And Danielle, you going to stay? Oh,
no, she's out. There she goes. They're off. That was super fun. I hope you enjoyed that.
You guys, my heart was like, so
we can see all that happening.
We could see, yeah. That was fun for us. It was fun for me.
Thank you.
That's like a gift to you, But
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you're a gift to me, actually, Sandra, as well. And Steve, I feel like you are going to be in our family as well. This has been such a wonderful intro into this podcast world that you're a part of. And man, if I am just a small part of all this wonderful stuff you're doing, wow, wow, wow. Amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I mean, we wouldn't be here if we didn't have wonderful stories to tell. And
Yes.
yeah, and we were right in the middle of that too. The timing of that, we had them on to get them on at a certain time. And but yeah, you were talking about
to get a doorbell.
A doorbell.
Like
Ooh.
Adam, like maybe a doorbell.
He could probably add. He could probably even add.
Like,
yeah.
do you hear
something.
that?
Yeah.
Or a ring.
A ring, yeah, or like a little ring, like a little bell, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, we digress.
Out.
Okay.
Right.
But you were talking about coming over from Croatia.
Yes. Not knowing the language. The shows. It was the shows you were talking about.
I Dream of Jeannie,
and
Hogan's Heroes. Yeah.
So that's
where we were.
Okay. Back on you. So
yeah, you're right. So outside of that, I really couldn't do much because I didn't speak the language. My mom didn't have a lot of family here or friends, really. And talk about this bold, courageous journey that she took with a kid that she really, into an America that she was just hopeful was going to be that American dream. And so, yeah, I started to this day, I have the same friends that I met in 1970, some 50 some years later, fellow immigrants that were in the same area that I was in. Obviously, grammar school, I did start to take English classes in the evening at the public library. And you can visualize, I'm there, my mom is there, every ethnicity, every gender, every race, every person you can in one room. And so I feel now when I think about the instructor having to really kind of guide language and English to like everything you think, I applaud that incredible teacher. And so, obviously I went through grammar school and high school. And so, Sandra, I'm going to share some of the personal things that hopefully that resonates with things we've talked about, on the front end, the A to Z and the chief people officer and the VP titles and all those things. We'll certainly spend as much time as is necessary and is important for your team and your listeners to be a part of. But really, as I think about my background and what led me to the place where I am today, so much of it was joy. So much of it was, incredible friendships and caring and kindness. But equal balance to that, like many others, there was a lot of darkness. I had a very abusive alcoholic stepfather. And when you're young and you're trying to fit in, you obviously think you're the only one with these problems. And so this was sort of my childhood. And on the one hand, you admire and love this woman, my mom, who brought me here. And then, we're in a situation where we can't seem to find our way out of this abusive scenario. And then you kind of go through life thinking you're the only one. And so early on, bullied because I didn't speak English, finally got the language. And then we kind of start to go through some of these hardships and these challenges and these dark times. And that really starts to shape us. And it shapes us either in shame or in guilt or in fear. And I had all of those things. And as I entered high school, I really did feel that I was breaking through. And I knew that I did not want to be in that lifestyle at all. My mom didn't have the courage to leave it while I was younger. And so, I met many, many people, but the one individual I met there was somebody I later married, and he had a similar lifestyle. And so we found each other in that story, and we were friends first. And, he took away the shame, and I took that away from him and his story. And so thereafter, we planned a life together. We got engaged. And then as I was 19, thinking about, was I going to go to college? Was I going to get a job? We're going to get married, all the things that you do back in 1982, 3, somewhere in there. Very different than both Danielle and Nikki have different plans for their future. It was a morning, December 1st, there was a knock on my door. I kept trying to answer it. Nobody was there. And finally, out of frustration, I kind of stuck my head out, and a man broke into the house and raped me. And that was another point in my journey and in my story and in my life. And so I share this with you in an effort to try to connect with others who experience these types of things when you think you've got, choices and you've overcome some really difficult things, and that happens. And it just rocks your world. And it's for that reason then I started to do some work later in life in sexual trauma and rape prevention and other things that I'm involved in. And I share these points with you as I think about, points in time. And so going through that experience, both on a medical level, a legal level, a criminal level, and then when do you tell your parents? Do you tell your parents? Believe it or not, you guys, I did not tell my mom for a year.
Wow.
I didn't tell her for a year. And I just got done sharing with you, we had a great relationship. We were close. And even through some of the choices that she had made, she was still my mom. I didn't want to add one more worry to her. And as twisted as this sounds, I did believe it was my fault because I opened the door. As irrational and as illogical that is, I shouldn't have opened the door. I'm a Chicago girl. I know better. And I did. And so it took a while to really work through that. And at some point I just told her, and actually it was a week before my wedding. There was something kind of bubbling up in me that I couldn't start this new chapter without telling her. And as anyone can feel, but especially a mom, hearing from a child what happened a year before that they didn't tell you. And I had just hoped she hadn't seen it in a newspaper because there was a local story about it. I was one of 5 rape victims during that summer. And so there was a lot going on at that time. And so I go through therapy, I go through counseling, I go through these things, I start a new life, and we have these 2 kids that you just met.
Right, they're awesome.
Thank you. And I had, I wanted to be a young mom. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be a career woman. I wanted to be a great wife. And, in my young youth, of course, I can do it all. Well, of course you can. You just can't, in my world anyway, I couldn't have it all and do it all at the same time. And so there's so much going on. And, we had the girls because their dad and I wanted to be young parents as we got older and go to these soccer games and cheer them on and not have, things that we wouldn't be able to do. And so we fast forward and we have these, and we build a really great life. All the while, my professional career is taking off. I'm working in this human resources space. I start to have growth. And, as relationships change and people change, sometimes relationships don't sustain. And their dad and I did everything we could to keep our marriage together and our family together. And we ended up getting divorced after 24 years of marriage. And I'm trying to share with you, when you talk about my story, like points that could go one way or another. And in my case, sometimes they went in both ways. I would think I'm going to go in this path, and then I go in this path, and none of these things are easy. Yeah. And I think about it, the difficulty of, deciding to have a divorce or not have a divorce. And I read something somewhere that really helped me make a decision for our family. And we have a very amicable relationship today. And we did through the process as well. And we kept thinking we should stay together for the kids. And I know many, many families think about that. And I remember reading something, is this the marriage that you would want for your children? And if the answer is no, then why do you want it for yourselves? And really, that was sort of a turning point for me and for their dad in the decision-making process. These kids are smart. They're intuitive. We had raised them to listen to their instincts. And as much as you think you're pretending that things are, and again, this was a home not of abuse or anything that we've suggested, but just of, some tension at times. And kids pick up on that. And I thought, we can't teach them to trust their instincts. And when they question their instincts, to say, no, everything's fine. And then have them question their own instincts. So we really felt it was the right thing to make a different choice for our family at that point. We got divorced. We have, again, a great relationship today. But as you think about the girls and the impact on them moving forward and what potentially that would have meant for them. And, from there is really where the professional part of me continued to grow. The girls got older. I had less responsibility and obligation from a home situation. And that's really, Sandra, where you and I met, and that trajectory of that company that grew 5-fold when we were there. Mm-hmm. And, I've been working for a global consulting business that had such great experience for me. And I was able to take that and work with our organization, as we said at Camping World. The goal there was to grow the company, to increase the employment brand, to increase the employment experience. There was a lot of freedom and autonomy. And that's really, again, a further trajectory into the professional part of the world. And to your point about social responsibility, if you don't mind that I'm going to talk about you a little bit, we really formalized volunteer program. We have a brand called Good Sam, and we had a Good Samaritan program, and it really was vision of our leadership team and us to execute on a very required volunteer program. Not just nice to have, but it was very intentional and deliberate, where every one of our employees was required to donate, actually contribute 32 hours on the company's dime into the community. You can imagine we had thousands and thousands of employees, and to corral that in and to make that be what it was about a difference in the community, as opposed to fill out the form and make sure that you did this, that, and the other. We needed champions. We needed champions to help us do that. And when asking for champions, who but one Sandra Brunson raised her hand first and foremost as a champion for moving this forward. Sandra, I cannot tell you how relieved the program manager and I were among all the other champions that you volunteered. We were so thrilled because we knew the heart, the compassion, the organization, the leadership by example was going to be led by you. And so that was one of the great experiences as I look back, is not only what we did as a team, but what you did for that brand, for those employees, and for all the charitable organizations that were the beneficiaries of that. So I have to say, bravo to you, my friend.
Thank you. In talking about that, I remember I told you, I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. But there was something, it's like, raise your hand. No, don't raise your hand. No. And I did. And it was hard work, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And it opened my eyes to giving back to the community and what I can do as a mom myself, and I kind of passed it on to, I did it within my own personal life with my kids, so it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was, and also in the corporate office, that's like, the headquarters. And it's like, we got to get it right and show everybody else. Right. But it was fun. I loved it. And after about 2 years, it was kind of like, I'm good. We can pass this off to someone else, and maybe somebody else can do a better job, or just move it to a different direction. So I thank you for bringing that to our company, because that was something to look forward to. I got to tell you, it wasn't hard to find places to volunteer to do. It was hard to say, okay, today I can do it, and the week, because especially in the legal department.
Oh, yeah.
We just keep moving. Nothing waits. Legal does not wait for anything.
Oh.
And so, but
right.
yes, you brought that to our company, and it was a good time. Just when it was actually really starting, I guess.
Yeah.
It was like a grassroots type of thing, and it seemed like it was, while it was intentional, organic, because I don't recall a lot of other people doing it. When I would tell people, and they were like, "Really, your company's letting you come here for the day?" And yeah. And so it was really fun. The administrative part of it was a kicker, but it was fun. So kudos to you as well. I give that back to you.
You did a year longer than most people were required to.
Oh,
so.
yes. Yeah. Like,
maybe we lied to you when it was told you it was a 2-year term. I don't know.
You might have, because I don't think there was a break in anything that I did. I didn't know anything else. So yeah. So Z, when you told us so much, and one, I embrace you for sharing that with us. Those were really, challenging times for you, and I can't even equate. I don't know how you were able to get through that time. Also, not sharing that with your mom, but you were protecting her, and kudos to you for doing that. It takes a strong person to want to do that for their loved one, for their mother. And I know as a mom, I would want to protect my mom. Don't worry about me. I can do it, type of thing. So as you've come into this particular path in your life where you are today, what would you tell a younger Zrinka?
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. I would say to her, there's going to be some real nasty stuff that's coming, but you will get through it. I'm trying not to use this too shall pass, because it gets a little, not overused, but, I just wanted her to believe in herself when she was the scared kid, when the stepfather was doing what he was doing. And then through all these sorts of things, I would just say to her, the only way out is through. And that's a Mark Twain term. And I didn't really know those words at the time, but I felt like I just had to keep building that. I refuse to be a statistic. And I don't know where that comes from, you guys, in terms of grit and resilience that we all have. but I just knew that in order to get through it, get out of it, I had to go through it. So I would just say to her, the only way out is through. Lean on your friends. There is no shame. And I would, that's a lot that I would say to baby Z, right? You just
Baby Z.
For a lot of that, yeah. But that really there is light, and there are people who care, and there is kindness amongst all that darkness in the world, for sure.
Well, and one of the things you mentioned too was joy and love was part of that process as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty evident just when you see, Nikki and Danny pop up on the screen, like you cannot help but see the joy and love in that relationship. And, that can only be evident if that's something that's been present in you with them all along. I mean, and people are going to watch this and they're going to see that moment and they're going to know that it's there. Like, it's undeniable. It's just been really cool to see.
Oh, I'm really touched. And I mean, I can tell, just the way you talk about your daughters and people ask you about them. And also just when I talk to you guys are just so positive, so encouraging. And that all stems from you. I mean, kudos to you, Mom. Your daughters are fabulous. And so I couldn't imagine not being able to talk to my child while they're enduring such a grueling process was the biggest loser, right? And then just to say, yeah, she's still here, and move on, and I know people must have asked you, how's she doing? How's it going? Da, 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 da. And, you can't say anything. That also is frustrating, right? Frustrating in a good way. Yes, thank you for asking about her. I appreciate the well wishes, but inside is like, I don't know.
What could you not even tell people that she was still there at that time? Because that gives away, knowing she's there for a certain amount of time probably gives stuff away too, right?
A little bit, yeah. Great question, Steve and Sandra. Thank you. I mean, literally, it was a 5:00 on a Friday evening text that would say she's coming home, as we heard, or she's going to carry on. That was it. And that we could tell people she's on, but to your point, there was a delay. And so that's all we could know. There was one time when they allowed us to send cards and pictures. And Sandra, I think you were part of that. We wrote cards and we sent them to her. And I found out later that not every contestant got those. So nobody got them because they didn't want to film one person having support at home. So all these things that we thought we were trying to convey to her, she wasn't getting it either, other than what we saw. And so, yeah, it was really kind of challenging and frustrating, also exciting. But Sandra, to your point, yeah, you're watching it I think it was 3 or 4 episodes maybe behind. Mm-hmm. But when I would see not only the workouts and the stories, but I know how what courage it took for her to be there physically, but the emotional and the mental sort of fortitude. I mean, she gutted herself. She talked about having been an athlete, gained so much weight in college. We talked about our family and how many in our family struggle with obesity, and really the catalyst for her to change. We had, some folks in our family who were really struggling. And so I'm watching her on TV, gutting herself in an effort to connect with others. I know the stories and I can't call her. I can't hug her. I can't buy her a pony to make it better. All the things that a mom would want to do. And so, yeah, I mean, we had family and they knew what I knew. They knew exactly every Friday night what I do. I would get a ton of texts. What's the latest? I just started doing this.
You got to block that out.
You got another week.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. That's.
But if I can just offer one more thing, Sandra.
Of course.
You were talking about, of course, protecting your mom and not telling them. There's a point when I decided, when am I going to tell my own girls about some of this stuff, right? When is appropriate and what happens? And I think they certainly knew about childhood, and, their grandmother was certainly not a secret either in terms of the choices that she led, and she was part of our lives until she passed away. So we really did not have secrets. We're very open, we're very transparent, but there's just some things you're not sure when is the right time. And both the girls in high school, you'll remember this with Jalen and Erica as well, they start to have these sort of social responsibility groups, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, sexual abuse, rape prevention. I mean, all these groups that come to the school and they start to get information on how to protect oneself from harmful people, behaviors, destructive choices. And they were coming home and asking me and telling me about these things. And I just felt that was the right time to tell them, in particular about the rape. And, of course, you can imagine their shock, their awe, their every emotion you can think of, but within it was just disbelief that their mom had gone through something like this. The beauty of that, there was pain, there were tears, there was explanation, But the beauty of that is that they also saw many years later that I was okay. I was able to have a loving relationship with their father, that I wasn't bitter or angry. I was different for sure. It had shaped me. And so in that same conversation, when you're talking about this traumatic event, they could also go, man, that was like 20 years ago. And here you are telling us this from this point in your life. And I share this, hopefully it's being heard as humility, not look at me, but rather to be able to look in real time in the person who has gone through that, and so many others have. And I've adopted this story from Robin Roberts. I'm sure we've heard it many times, make your mess your message. And doing that and living that way and relating with people who have gone through similar things. This is why, I volunteered at sexual, abuse prevention centers, and I'm on a board for one now. And the girls have been to fundraisers, and that's why they understand to take a cause and action on something that's meaningful, where you can really make a difference. And so that's sort of how I shared with them and the why behind it for them as young women.
That's awesome. That's powerful. That you would have the fortitude. Obviously, they were at an age where they could understand, right? Mm-hmm. So that that's I don't know if amazing is the right word, but that's your truth. That's you. This is who you are. This is how you live your life. You're very transparent. You're an open book. You're that Swiss Army knife, right? Listen, I feel that everything, like as you said, make your mess your message, but there's so many things that your experiences have encompassed to bring you to this point where you're able to share your story unrelentlessly. You're not, I don't know if the right word is to say unregrettable, but you in your own right are able to transform yourself into a better self because of your experiences, right? If I'm saying that right. I feel like this is a really good point to I want to just go back, because we said we want, and I really want to know, Z, what this is. And on a much lighter note, what is a chief people officer do? I want to know, what do you do?
Yeah.
First of all, everything you did, it seemed like fun anyway, okay, what you did at our company, but please explain to us what you did in that role.
I will, for sure. And so, I got that because when I started A2Z, I'm so fortunate that we had great colleagues and former colleagues who were like, call my company, come with my company. We need some help. And I thought, great, because there's a pandemic going on. We'll figure this out as we go along. And one of those very good friends was a board member at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he introduced me, and they were going through some cultural challenges. The pandemic was going on for sure, but they really were focused on making sure that they want their consumer brand, their employment brand to really be positive. And so we did some culture work in that space, and I was consulting at the time. There was a transition from the president, and the new president said, you know what, Z, you've established these relationships with folks. I'm really wondering if you can be on site for a period of time so that we can go deeper. We went wide, but now let's go deeper, and being able to change that culture. And so I basically lived in Canton for a year at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
As being somebody from Michigan, having to live in Ohio, I do. Sorry.
Yeah. And I will say this, I had never been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but when I drove as a Bears fan to George Halas Drive, literally the hair on the back of my neck in the most positive way just stood up. And those halls and the museum and the people that are there are amazing. And so I switched for a while from A2Z Consulting to being an employee. I brought in a couple of employees and contractors to manage the clients that we had with A2Z. And so I was in Canton for a year. And the chief part is really indicative of sort of for level, for lack of a better term. So it's sort of like a chief financial officer, chief marketing officer. That's the chief part from a level standpoint. And I have to be honest with you, one of the things that I've been doing in my work lately, we start to really be respectful of Native Americans and titles. So you'll see that chief, even in other roles, is likely going to be sunset over the years. Not everybody's buying into it, but really, leader of, head of, founder. One of my clients went from CEO to founder of, because we were just really trying to be raising the awareness level to what chief implies perhaps in Native American community. But nonetheless, it is a standard title of level The people part is, I would say, it's much more of the HR, but sort of new and improved, how we've evolved. So when you think human resources, very often we think handbooks, policies, oh my God, I'm in trouble, the principal's calling.
Three strike rule, what?
Right. It elicits like, you know, and we wanted to dispel that. And that's really when I talk about A to Z being disruptive and dispelling myths, but it's about the people. Yeah. And that's the people part, and the officer is just simply, again, level wise. But within that group, it was what you would think of, anything that would be tied to the employment brand, the employment experience. How do we treat each other? What sort of total rewards and pay do we have? But also volunteer program, like you and I talked about, Sandra. Yeah. You know, we wanted our employees to feel as excited to be at the Hall of Fame as our fans and guests were. And believe me, our fans and guests are not going to the Smithsonian. They are coming in face painting, jersey. They are like crushing it every single day.
Wow.
And so within my scope, I was so grateful to not only have within the people vertical, sort of what you would think of human resources, but we really tried to, pardon this language, kind of in the best possible way, make it sexy, right? Have it really be fun and not about handbooks and policies. Of course that's there. And
my life is all about trying to be sexy and fun. So I can relate to this right now.
Sandra told me that about you, Steve. That was a nugget she shared with me. Nugget.
Well, that's the velour suit.
Oh yeah,
that's going to come. That's going to come. It's to come. Yeah. I'll share that with you.
I can't wait. And so the flip side of that too was we didn't want, and many companies run into these challenges. They focus on their consumer brand. Yeah. How do we sell? How do we service? And we wanted that not to be a difference. How do you feel as an employee should not be any different than how you feel as a paying consumer, whether it's business to business or on site. And the fact that we're a museum and can greet people whose lifelong dream was to visit the Pro Football Hall of Fame, look at the artifacts, actually touch some of them. And so within my scope of responsibility, and I did it with many, many incredible people, we also had the fan experience part. So we had all these incredible initiatives. So when it's really busy and you have to park your car at the, church down the street and take a shuttle, we had fan vans. We want you to be excited and not having to sit on that parking lot. Now we're talking about, grilling out there while you're waiting for the shuttle to come pick you up, like a big old tailgate. Like what? Who wouldn't have fun doing that?
So it was about tailgates. Yeah. Michigan fan. I've seen their tailgates. Sheesh. It's like a weekend experience, I think. But that's awesome. And who better to do that than you? Like, I'm energetic just hearing you talk about it. And I want to be able to jump in and see what that's like.
It would make me actually want to go to Ohio. Like that's a big sell right there.
I'm telling you, it is one of the most amazing professional and personal experience. Not only the people that I've met, but also, as you know, they are responsible for each class of Hall of Famers every year. And that process. And then, once they get selected and the experience and they come in, it's already scheduled for August 5th of this year with the new class. And being an employee and meeting the families and making sure that their experience in Canton is so incredibly exciting and rewarding. And oh my gosh, it's just every emotional spectrum you could think of is incredibly powerful. Yeah.
So you get to meet Calvin Johnson then, with the last Hall of Fame, Megatron. That's one of my heroes right there.
Megatron, because that's all I know. I know Megatron. Yeah, I remember him. Well, he was amazing.
Yeah. And to get to be that part of the job. And let me tell you, I was one piece of a huge engine that makes that happen. But the hours are exhausting, and nobody takes vacation between said date and other dates simply because we want to make sure that we're available, and that's understood. Nobody complains. But then when you see these guys get their jackets and their rings and their busts and their families are there, and some are, posthumously done because they passed away before they got in there, the emotional, component. And I think, as I talk about that role, that's what it was. That's what it was there, and the ability and the teamwork that was there. I mean, obviously we play on the word teamwork because of the sports piece of it, and they're building an incredible, destination. This is another reason to go to Ohio, just like we did here around Wrigley. This is a destination. There are hotels, water parks. Steve, I'm telling you, it's worth the trip.
I'm there.
There's restaurants. It's amazing. So Canton is definitely where people want to go visit for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just learned a little fact. So Hagar has been making the suits since 1978.
Hey.
I know that. That's it. That's just a.
See, he's like a wealth of knowledge, like
stuff, but nobody like. It's just.
But see, you're in the apparel, the clothing industry. So but Zrinka Z,
this has been awesome.
You have taught us a lot. You've given us nuggets. I do want to just touch on one thing real quickly that when we talked about, you mentioned, because I really want you to expand on this and help me understand, and Steve, of course, and our listeners. You talked about having a reverse resume.
Oh, yeah.
So can you just real quickly, I feel like somebody on the news, this in 20 seconds.
Right.
No. Can you please just tell us about what that means and how that has helped you where you are today and, starting the A2Z Consulting Services?
Of course. Thank you. And it's really a shame because I don't talk fast, so I can probably do it in 20 seconds anyway. The reverse resume concept really came, I did a couple of sort of speaking engagements for females. And, how to stay ignited and empowered and not feel like I'm a female and male dominated, all these sorts of things. And, they would say things to me like, oh my God, you worked at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You're a chief this, you're a VP that. And listen, I worked hard and those are valid and values for all of us who have that professional chronology, right? Where we went to school, if in fact we went to school, where we worked. But what I shared with you on the front end, and to me, that's the reverse. It's the backside, right? And I don't even want to call it a plan B because plan B would be like plan A didn't work. But how do we integrate that external image, the chief people officer at the Pro Football Hall of Fame or the VP at Camping World? I'm sure they've had no hardships in their life. When I share with you the other life experiences, whether you call them credentials or not, and I would say that they are, that make me and you, Steve, and you, Sandra, and everyone that's listening, that's what shaped us. So if we were to write a resume, reversing it, not the professional pieces, but those nuggets or those timelines that I shared with you, I think we would be much more as a society accepting and not buying into these external norms or sort of the reason why many of us fall into this imposter syndrome sometimes, right? We want this job, we get this job, and we get there and we're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. If we trust and go back to our resume, the reverse part of it, childhood, trauma, overcoming, timelines, those types of things, and really hold those as other additional credentials to shape who we are, and then be potentially not only a better employee, better leader, but a better friend. And if we can be, the person that helps somebody if my journey can be a survival guide for someone else by sharing that every one of those things that we talked about that were painful was well worth it. So hopefully that explains it a little bit more, Sandra.
No, that
so
does.
One of those headings on the resume would be messes.
Yes.
Right? The messes, right?
My messy messages. That's right.
Well, that's awesome. No, I thank you. You have put that. I tried to share that and I could not convey it as easily as you. You are amazing. I thank you for sharing your story, your daughters with us. Although you had no choice in that.
Your energy, your liveliness, all of your what's the word? Transparency, your authenticity.
Everything.
I love
This is
what the show is all about.
This is what it's about. This is truly what it's about. And I thank you for sharing it with us and joining us today. And I might tap into the A2Z Consulting Services one day soon because I might need some help.
Yeah, I'll be at the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Soon.
Oh, I'm going to go too.
We'll just have a road trip. We'll have a Motherlode road trip.
There you go.
Yeah,
on site. Let's do it.
Yes.
Sure. And thank you guys again.
Thank you.
I was able to do this because you invited me, but you created an environment for me to feel safe and comfortable. And the inviting of my daughters, I have no words. Just you saw the expression.
Happy Friday.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to see you again, Sandra, and meet you, Steve. What a wonderful gift you are to everyone. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
You.
Have a great rest of your day.
Yes.
You too, guys. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
What did you think? What did you think about her?
She's great. Holy cow.
No, really.
No, for real. She is even from the second we need to start recording when they first I know the show stuff or whatever, but even that energy right at the beginning, just being able to bottle that, from the second
kind of gets us going, right?
Oh my gosh, she is amazing. And then the story, and then that so nuggets. What kind of Motherlode nuggets do we have?
Oh my gosh, we have what's your plan B?
The reverse resume.
The reverse resume, the plan B saying that Plan B is not necessarily a thing because that means A didn't work.
Yep.
And that's in her world, in her eyes, there's no such thing.
The ships are all
The
burned.
yeah.
We're going.
Yeah, so she gave us quite a few nuggets. I'm just going to have to go back.
The Robin Roberts, the
Roberts-
mess is your message.
Yes.
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
The only way out is through. I mean, there's a
The
lot
only
of.
way out is through is really, that struck a chord.
Yeah.
Because think about it. You're in this thing.
Right. And how many times do we try to like avoid it, but then it keeps catching us, and it's like, nah, we gotta just.
Yeah, you have to face it.
Gotta face
and go
it.
through it. So yeah, she gave us some nuggets. Yeah, we're rolling with this, man.
What?
I'm just trying to tell you, like, I'm loving.
I
this.
want to thank you because these people wouldn't hang out with me. So like because of you, I get to.
Well,
I get to hang out with people like this. This is
Yeah,
amazing.
Well, thank you for thinking that I can attract such lovely people, and with with the knowledge and the wisdom that they bring. It's organic, it's real, it's who like we all are, and I'm sure if you were in this space with them, you would, first of all, your personality, they would all be coming to you, like, it's kind of like that. What's that commercial? I don't want to give any free advertisement here, but you know what?
I don't know.
It's like the soap, and then all of a sudden the women all around them.
Oh, the Mr. Clean guy?
No, that's not it. It's not Mr.
soap?
Clean. It's like not Old Spice, but what's the young one? It's a newer one where the guy puts on some spray something. You're like, not Fabergé, not like Brut, not Brut. But you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden the women are like, and they're all like, the hair is blowing and all of that stuff. That's what I see, that when you are in the room, it's kind of like cloud around you, the hair going through, like the wind going through your hair, and then, women just trying to come to you. You draw that type of you do. You're
I'll
a
have
people
to start
person.
using soap and then.
Yes,
and then-
yes.
yeah.
But yeah, the nuggets are there with Zrinka is a true gem. I've learned a lot from her.
Yeah,
This
me
is
too.
truly helping me embrace who these people are even more so.
And more impressive than anything else, she's made a Michigan guy want to get up and go to Ohio for at least a weekend.
Road trip.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to see who you bring us next.
Yes.
And we're going to keep this thing going and just
Yes.
keep learning and keep telling people stories.
Yes.
And I'm excited. But yeah, thank you, friend, for doing this with me. And
Yes.
we'll see everybody on the next one.
Yes, take care.